All right, let's talk about some dinosaurs. So, dinosaurs, this should give you a red flag. Most dinosaur bones discovered are highly radioactive. Most dinosaurs' bones discovered are highly radioactive. Because of this, the bones displayed in museum are covered with heavily leaded paint. Mainstream scientists explain this phenomenon by citing elemental uranium deposits in Colorado and Wyoming. These deposits were formed during the Jurassic Age. The radioactivity is generated from sandstones found in the region. Okay, that is complete. So, and then I'll just continue, and then we'll get really into it. To explain the pervading evidence of radioactivity during ancient times, scientists at NASA, by the way, they claim these bones are 60 million years old. Just, you can still, right after Pearl Harbor, people didn't leave the city. There were still trolley cars operating. That's a whole other story. Gamma rays ain't what they say they are. To explain the pervading evidence of radioactivity during ancient times, scientists at NASA and the University of Kansas claim that gamma ray bursts could have facilitated mass extinctions that would have remodeled our atmosphere. This is, by the way, this is mainstream science. This is not Nat Geo. Everybody reports on this. This is what they say. And then we'll get into the history of dinosaurs. A gamma ray burst consists of sudden explosion of a nearby star that may well have depleted half of Earth's atmospheric protective ozone layer. And as Time magazine said, the ozone layer was disappearing because of hairspray. That's my commentary, if you're just listening. A gamma ray burst originating within 6,000 light years. By the way, always watch out for sixes. Right now they say the Earth is spinning around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. What's the tilt of the Earth? 66.6 degrees. Now, can't make the. How many Jews died in the house? I'm just playing! Anyway, 6,000 light years from Earth would have a devastating effect on life. This is from 2012. Now that much of the awakening is happening, does that trigger any red flags to you of the likelihood of any truth? That a star 6,000 light years away, that's the distance light travels, is 186,000 miles per second, in a year, 6,000 light years away, that caused the, it's just so, guys. All right. Gamma rays are the secret sons of the, anyway, we don't know exactly when one came, but we're rather sure it did come and left its mark, said random Jewish guy. What's more surprising is that just a 10-second burst can cause years of devastating ozone damage. Where's their evidence? This is the beauty of not being a liar. Is as time goes on, you're proven more right, and the lies become so stupid that it's more of a joke than anything a comedian could write. Trust me, I'm a comedian. They're trying to tell you that they've done studies. This is mainstream. This is according to NASA and the University of Kansas. That a gamma ray burst originating within 6,000 light years from Earth would have a devastating effect on life. And what causes the extinction of these creatures with bones that you're never going to be able to see. I'll get to that. And one of the reasons they don't allow the public to see the bones is because they're radioactive, even though they were just dug up in Wyoming and people were just there. But the bones, you see, are radioactive, just like nuclear bombs. And you can't go near the bones or else you'll get cancer, even though they just found the bones in a dude's yard. But before that, it was fine. It was only when you examine them that they become radioactive. Just keep all this in mind as you're understanding what a dinosaur is. By the way, obviously dinosaurs never existed. We'll get to that. I know that hurts your feelings. I also love dinosaurs to the point where my mom made homemade stuffed animals of dinosaurs. I was obsessed. I wanted to be a paleontologist. I get it. I also was part of the mind control. But understand what these people are saying. Most dinosaur bones, understand that they're claiming that they're 60, 70, 80 million years old. Million. And they just dig them up in a few areas that happen to be owned by very rich families or the Smithsonian. And nobody before 1842 even theorized about dinosaurs. We'll get to that. But if you find one of these bones, it's so radioactive that you're not allowed to inspect it or touch it. And when they show you the bones, you can't go near them. They have to be fake bones or covered in lead paint. If you believe that, your brain's. Are you saying Dino Riders or what? All right, so yeah, everybody loved dinosaurs. Everybody wanted to go to the moon. I get it. Just all right. No, by the way, no one is currently allowed to examine a dinosaur skull because it isn't real. But anyway, this is a few facts I'd love for you to go check out. Sir Richard Owen is the first one who came up with the term dinosaur. When? 1842. Why? Because the Royal Society told him to. How do you know that? Because no one discovered a single dinosaur bone or tooth until 1854 by a paleontologist named Hayden. Okay, so understand what that means. A knight who was part of the Royal Society came up with this idea called dinosaurs in 1842. Not because they found any bones or a tooth, but because he was told to. By who? Aldous Huxley's grandfather. How do you know that? His last name was Huxley. Why would they do that? Well, The Origin of Species came out in 1859, and they required a narrative to make it look like time on the earth was way bigger than it ever was. So what do? They create these giant, larger-than-life narratives called dinosaurs. No culture has ever found a dinosaur. But and another reason they did it is the narrative of fossil fuels. So it's all a fiction story. All of it. 1842, a member of the Royal Society coined the term dinosaur without ever finding a single bone or tooth. Then in 54, Hayden discovers a tooth, and then from there it gets crazy. So then the Smithsonian, and then you have the banksters and the in the future the Carnegie Institute, all this stuff. Here's a fact that might allow you to understand about what I'm saying is absolutely true. Gravy comes from dinosaur. That's hilarious. Gonna need some biscuits for all this gravy. Oh yeah, it's wild. All the dinosaur bones in all the museums are all fake. Why? Because they say the bones are radioactive. Why does that matter? Because when they started doing tests on a lot of the actual bones way back in the late 1800s, several people concluded that they were from elephants or whales. There is not a single dinosaur skeleton that exists. And here's another thing. Even the bones that exist and teeth that exist, no member of the public, none, is allowed to inspect them or look at them. They have to be members of universities or, funded by Carnegies or Rockefellers. You've never seen a dinosaur bone. You'll never see a dinosaur bone. You're not allowed to. It's much like Antarctica. And the fossil fuel myth, which is a myth, it's not dinosaur bones degrading into oil. If you believe that, I don't know what to tell you. So they invent Aldous Huxley's grandfather is part of the invention of dinosaurs with Sir Richard Owen in 1842. The word never existed. The concept never existed. And then the first tooth was discovered in 1854. And then from there, anytime any bone was discovered, the Smithsonian would swoop in and take it. Why does that matter? Because they were never discovered. There is prehistoric bones. There is like woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers and weird-looking fish and stuff. No one's ever found a dinosaur skeleton, ever. It is ridiculous. It's all ridiculous. Oil is abiotic and continually renews. Exactly. They said peak oil was coming in 1971. That was before the industrialization of China and India. We're consuming more oil right now than any time in human history by a factor of 1,000. And not only is oil not going down, more and more is being discovered. And you might just say, oh, well, the technology is getting better to find oil. Old oil wells that were dried up have refilled Now, let's put on our thinking caps. And I don't mean to sound condescending. I'm trying to keep this funny. I'm not trying to be a because you're probably smart. Do you think billions of dinosaurs died and decomposed sometime between 1950 and 1990 or 2010 when they found more oil in the same exact well that had been emptied? No. Do you think that claiming that dinosaur bones are all radioactive, which is why they're trying to help the public by not allowing you to inspect them? You know, radioactivity, the thing that has never been found to ever exist in Hiroshima or Nagasaki or Chernobyl. You know, radioactivity, the thing that is complete nonsense. My mom says I'm smart for an idiot. Oh, nice, Overbear. It's a painful process. Yes, they mix it with alcohol. I have seen Sue the T-Rex at the Field Museum in Chicago. She is 80% complete. All right, ask Dave. You're now banned because you don't have a bear name. If you had a bear name, I wouldn't have banned you. I just explained. These aren't real bones. They're all fake bones. They don't allow you to see the real bones because of a nonsense lie that 60 million years ago, radioactivity infected the dinosaur bones. Okay? So what you're looking at is plaster created by some of the most powerful banksters and tycoons that have ever walked the planet. Them with a nonsense narrative created by Charles Darwin and then the Rockefeller family about fossil fuels and evolution, they all came together and they created this big fake thing called dinosaurs. And it's just endless that they can say to people who haven't seen how dumb it is. You can't ever inspect a dinosaur bone, ever. Big Bear makes me think. Earth produces oil, bones don't make oil. Of course bones don't make oil. If an extinct species 60 million years ago and all this plant life that happened back then, it takes millions of years to rot and become a form of carbon and then crude oil. And then if that was the case, oil would be more valuable than diamonds. It would be more valuable than gold. It wouldn't be cheaper to buy than a gallon of water. And the earth, people are now using more oil than any time in human history. Not only is the amount not going down, it's getting cheaper. Now, do you think in the last 20 years as China industrialized and India industrialized and the amount of oil being used has went up thousands of %, do you think more dinosaurs have died? And then the lie of Darwin and evolution, which has, and it's absolutely, there's a point to it. It's to degrade the humans, to keep us all slaves, to make sure that we don't believe in God or creation or understand anything about our world, that we're just nothing more than random bacteria, and here we are. They required a giant timeline because the way evolutionists keep your mind poisoned, ungravied, to keep your biscuits dry is by saying nonsense. They need to have, it took billions of years, 6,000 light years away, a star let out an impulse, and that got rid of the ozone layer. You know, the ozone layer is something you can't measure. And the hole is over Antarctica, a place you're not allowed to go to since 1959. My light just fell down. Do you see how the lies just become more lies and more lies and more lies? This is one of the reasons why it's hard sometimes to decode them for people, because when you say something, they just have an immediate thing that they say. You say, well, how do you sexually select for a dorsal fin? They say, well, according to blah, blah, blah. Because so many of these lies are reactionary lies to hide a previous lie, which is why things become so absurd. And it's not scary. In fact, it'll free your mind. It'll free it. Just accept that you've been lied to a lot. Your teacher didn't know. A lot of these people have no idea these lies. My mom is a brilliant woman. When she made me dinosaur stuffed animals, do you think she was trying to lie to me? This is something that you have to understand to get past the hoaxes. The people in your life that introduced you to these lies did not know they were lies. So the people that started these lies are all dead. And one of the things that keeps me from focusing too much on the Jews is a lot of these old British. That's one reason why I can't just say it's the Jews. Because Huxley and Darwin and Sir Richard Owen, all these people, they constructed a fake world to keep everybody's mind. You know, Pythagoras wasn't a Jew. I don't know though. He seemed pretty Jewish. You know what I'm saying? I prefer taters with my gravy instead of biscuits. Good for you. So, not only are dinosaurs not real, it's preposterous to believe these people. And you're going to have shills in here just say stuff like, well, my uncle, he found, so is he a liar? Yes. Yes, he's either a liar or an idiot. Well, my uncle worked on, my great uncle built part of the Saturn V rocket. Are you calling him a liar? Yeah, either he's a liar or retarded. Yes, or tricked. Yes, I am. Dinosaur bones that are allegedly 60 million years old are not teeming with radioactivity and have to be painted with lead and made fake with plaster. If you think that you're and your uncle and your great uncles and your neighbor and all the people that you're going to say, well, they work for NASA and they helped build a. We never went to the moon. It's like, can family members lie? A lot of them just didn't know any better. One of the things that NASA did is they had like 50 contractors do every single project, and they would have the screws and the nuts and, you know, the panels made by like, they would contract it out to almost every state because it was a grassroots movement for the lie, because people take pride in being part of that. So they look this up. It's fascinating. So 50, 80 companies would be a part of making part of the Saturn V rocket. So then in the future, they would say, we helped put men on the moon. And all of their relatives would brag about it. And then when they were revealed to be full of, they would hold on tightly because now it's about their family and not about the government or the grabblers stealing. It's genius in a very evil way. Dinosaurs died in World War. That age group wanted to believe. Everybody wanted to believe in dinosaurs. They're unbelievably interesting. It's sci-fi. It's science fiction, guys. We're all tricked and lied to find the truth. Right, this is what's going to help you not take it personally. The people who taught this to you probably weren't lying. They didn't know. That's why my motto is, I might be wrong, but I'm not lying. The lie is so old and so covered, and lie on lie on lie, and human beings have a natural instinct to trust. Well, not all human beings. Human beings that wear normal-sized hats. They have a natural instinct to trust what they're told because lies would kill you in winter. You know, why would you lie? It's too dangerous. And so my dad worked for NASA as a computer programmer. He was totally compartmentalized and I had no idea it was all BS. Exactly. My father worked on the black heat shield panels on the nose of the shuttle, and he wasn't allowed to even talk about it until the shuttle was complete. Right. And now you can see the moon landing is preposterous. And so is the dinosaur. It's like, look at this. The dinosaur bones are highly radioactive. That's why you can't inspect them. That's why everyone's a fake. Do people buy that? It's just like, and this was just the craziest. And this is all the stuff. When you start, because a lot of us learned about, you know, Benjamin Franklin discovered electrical conductivity because he was thunder tugging in the, well, that's my joke. But like, he was flying a kite with a skeleton key attached to it in a lightning storm and then was electrocuted, and then he proved electricity. You have to be 5 to believe that one of our forefathers, a brilliant man, was just out in the rain flying an old-timey kite with a key, and that the lightning struck the key and then it shot down the string and he got electrocuted, and that's how we now have electricity. That's so that's why they have to teach it to kids when they're 5, 6, 7. You know, it's like same with the dinosaurs. Look at that. A gamma ray burst originating within 6,000 light years from Earth would have a devastating effect on life, said Jewish random guy. We don't know exactly when one came, but we'd rather sure it did not come and left its mark. What's most surprising, well, aside from the lies, is that just a 10-second burst can cause years of devastating ozone damage. So look at all the lies. 6,000 light years away, lie. They don't know how to measure that. That's all. Ozone layer itself, lie. Remember the whole Hairspray is going to destroy it, but the hole is mysteriously only over Antarctica, so no one can test it, and then it just went away. Even though the whole world got industrialized. Hydrocarbons through the roof. Total. And then we have that they can quantify and say that millions of years ago, they have a way of figuring out that there was a burst 6,000 light years away. You can't comprehend the distance. And then it took away the protective layer over the earth, and that's what killed all the dinosaurs. But not the mammals that allegedly we descend from, or the alligators, or any of the other life. All the life that stayed. No, just the dinosaurs. It was an interesting gamma burst. Okay, that's less believable than science fiction. All right. Owen is on fire right now, killing it. Oh, thank you, Joseph. Yeah, Ben Franklin was thunder tugging in the rain. The Bear Stream gets a gamma ray burst every time it's on. We still... Oh, yeah. We get gamma ray bursts all the time. I was a receptionist for a company responsible for toilets on Space Shuttle. I wish I knew what was going on. Just... It's such... Everything that has to do with space travel, evolution, dinosaurs, fossil fuel. Why would they lie, says people. Why would they lie? To control the world. And this is the thing. This is when it becomes fun. I know a lot of people that have discovered this stuff and they spiral. Some of you may have previously been those people or currently been those people. It's because you want to change the world back. This is one of the many benefits of being Christian is you accept the world's fallen. You accept that you are in the world, but not of it. You accept it and you say, well, we can still crush. Of course it's fallen. Lies upon lies upon lies is the normal state of existence on this planet or on this earth. And it's like, accept it and crush radioactivity. Then why don't the scientists wear it's all... Where was the radioactivity when they dug it up? And why, all in the same spots in Utah and Wyoming and Colorado. And all owned by old money families. The Smithsonian covered up giant bones. You know, they did find some bones out there, man. Giants. And the Smithsonian had come, grabble. No, dinosaurs. More gravy. Yeah, have some ladles of gravy. All right. Quantum of conscience makes one spiral for little. I don't think he understands grabblers. Because he sees these lies and thinks the whole world's... I love quantum of conscience, by the way. I'm not talking... But, like, he thinks, like, everything's like, that there's a reality generation machine, everything's a script, right? As someone who's worked in Hollywood... No, people really do come up with this. Who owns funds of Smithsonian? Carnegie's, Rockefellers, all the same people. Utopia can never exist until the heart of mankind is changed. Utopia isn't for this earth. We're fallen. Amen. That's my favorite scripture. We're called to live in the world, but not be of the world. Right. And that allows you to function. Like, not only can you function, it's fun. It's fun to uncover this. It's fun to see thousands of years ago, people understood that people were always going to lie and be. If that is true about dinosaurs, why create the science? Are you not listening? Why? The control of all energy, all of our history, and all the minds of the world. To make adults into children, thinking about Santa Claus. To make us live so many lies that they can sell us any lie they want. Look at this. Look at what they just did. Look at this. ABC apologizes for mistaking Kentucky gun range video for Turkish bomb in Syria. There's millions of people that are like, honest mistake. You know, they were just a bunch of journalists in Kentucky and they thought they were in Syria. Honest mistake. Why do people believe anything they're told? Because of this programming. Dinosaurs, evolution, NASA, all this global warming, gender, just all this gender. The more you accept, the more somebody would look at this and say, honest mistake. You know, utopia isn't for the world, we are fallen. It's true. Yeah. There's millions of people that look at this and go, I mean, people make mistakes. You know, they were in Kentucky and they thought they were in Syria. And then they doctored the footage to make it look like Syria and start another war for the Jews. People make mistakes. How dare you question, these journalists, the fifth, this group of people that keep the government honest. Without the journalists, fact checking and spinning their lies, I mean, what would we have? It's just like, what? All they do is lie. All they do is lie. They don't, if they say anything true, it's only because it fit an agenda and it was a random coincidence. They are desperate. It will get worse, but we got this. Oh, I'm loving it. The neo-clowns are spiraling. It's like the lies are being revealed. This article, and guys, I'll tell you right now, I might have believed this in 2012. Most dinosaur bones discovered are highly radioactive. Published May 17th, 2012. Okay, in 2012, there's a decent chance I would have read that and been like, wow, that's some intense. I'm glad I'm not around dinosaur bones. I might get leukemia. Because I couldn't understand the level of lies. Now you read this, and I'm to the point where I see 6,000 light years, 66,000 miles. I'm like, oh, sixes. Grabblers are at it again. They're obsessed with those numbers. Why is it a Jewish phenomenon, you might add? You might ask, because in Hebrew, their letters coincide with numbers, so they speak in numbers. It's not that big of a mystery once you see it. Like Quantum of Conscience, sometimes he doesn't comprehend I don't know how else to say it, but just Jews. And it's wrong to blame the evils on society on a demographic. There's tons of great Jews. You have no right to hurt them. You have no right to, but you have to understand their culture is what I'm describing. Their letters are also numbers. So when they're just randomly doing like 33s and 66s and all this, and no one understands it, like 9/11 and all this stuff, it's so obvious when you understand how the number letter stuff works in some of these ancient languages. Mathematical speech. Exactly. It's just like, it's like some of these little pieces, you get the piece and you're like, oh, that's why they're obsessed. It's not wrong, BB. It's them. Yeah, but evil isn't, dude, I'm not a shill. You know that I don't pull any punches. But it's like, you can't blame evil on a demographic. Evil's existed since the fall. And you're giving Jews too much credit if you think that they're the cause of evil. A lot of them are just bagmen. And I know a lot of evil that are not Jewish. And I know a lot of Jews that are not evil. But as a group, they're pretty grabbly. When you trace back a lot of these lies, you will always find either, like the Rockefellers were Jewish. They changed their name. It's pretty insane. And that's one reason why I talk about that, because you have a right to talk about it. Like the Holocaust is the only tragedy in existence where if you question anything about it, you go to prison. If that shouldn't send a red flag, nothing would.